Today is Rocco's last day that he can make babies. Look at him, the poor thing. He has no idea what's happening tomorrow. Harley is in season and still not back. And as I was saying in the live stream the other day, she'd make a very good mammy someday, very gentle. And we want her to have babies. So Rocco's balls have got to go. I've been talking to some women and girls about it. You seem to have no issues with it. Just chop it off. It'll be fine. Take it off. No hesitation. I think it's a small bit harder for men. But it has to be done. It's for the best. Speaking of losing your balls, I wish Tony Kline did, because that man is a monster. We went through last night on a members stream the details from his stepdaughter, Kegan's stepsister, Bart's full sister, and it was shocking, very disturbing. Not the stream, that was good, and possibly saved Nisi's life. That's another story, but the details from Kegan's sister, who doesn't want to be named, so I'm going to call her what the people on the murder sheet called her, Gwen. This is very different to Bart's interview. The main one being because she didn't want her voice or her name out there. They actually read from a transcript of the conversation they had with her. It was still good, but it's a lot harder to pick up things that you'd pick up when it's first person. But I completely understand why she did it. She's been through hell and wants people to know what Tony is like. And that's what she said. She said, I want to speak up. I want to tell people how Tony is. And if we know anything from Delphi, it's that there's crazy people out there who go after people like Kelsey. So imagine what they'll do to people like her. Her name is not Emily Ann. And she has nothing to do with that profile that was found on Kegan's device. The one that mentioned stepsister. And to be honest, I wasn't expecting to be as surprised as I was. I was expecting some bad stuff. But my God, Tony is a piece of shit. She was never essayed by Tony, but the violence he put her through was incredible. She was only 2 when her mum married Tony, so she was there till she was 13, till she moved in with her bio dad. So she was there for a long time. And she knows Tony. She knows his violence. She suffered from it. One of her earliest memories was when she was 4 years old. Tony Snap punched her in the face, 4-year-old girl, something over going to a Tupperware party with her mother, and then he beat her mother as well because of it. And she actually has a picture of when she was 4 years old, and she has that black eye in the picture. She remembers Bart and the toilet incident, traumatised by it. She remembers a time when Tony didn't like what her mother was cooking for dinner, so he took her hands and scalded them in the oven. She said the police were always called. Tony would say he was drunk or off his bipolar meds, and they'd be like, Tony, cop on. They didn't take seriously at all. And she did speculate. She doesn't know anyone, but she does speculate, did he have friends in the LE? Because it just seemed very strange that he got away with so much things. She said if she was breathing heavy or huffed wrong, Tony would, quote, beat the living shit out of her. And she told another story about once when neighbours were over for dinner, and she sat at the top of the table making a joke, little mess. And Tony said, get up, and she said, make me. So Tony caught the table and flipped it over on top of her in front of everyone, in front of the neighbours. We've seen this numerous times where he doesn't care who's around. She called him a textbook sociopath. The violence towards the women was much stronger than that towards Bart, and Kegan never got touched at all. He was the golden child. She told us a story about when she was aged about 9 to 13, she was outside. Tony had a BB gun and told her, start running. He said, I'm going to shoot you, you have a 5-second head start. She ran, terrified. Tony shot her in the elbow. She had to go to A&E to get it out, the pellet. It was lodged in on the bone on her elbow. And she had to make up some accident that Tony was firing the gun and it ricocheted off something. A sick, twisted man. She said he was very unpredictable. He used to come home from work and sit in his recliner and make Gwen take off his shoes and socks and rub his back. In the mornings he would make her bend down and put on his shoes. Control, power. She doesn't remember, but her mother told her a story about Tony making her eat soap once. And I say she was a tough little girl, and she looked at him and said, I love it. So he made her eat the whole soap. Made them sleep in the car outside the door another night. He's killed animals in front of her. He was digging a hole to bury a cat, and the cat wasn't actually dead. The cat started moving and coming back to life. So he bashed it in the head until it died, in front of Gwen. There's another story about a dog that all the family talk about. She doesn't have a memory of it. I like the way she did that. She was very quick to clarify, I remember this, I don't remember this, but this is what I was told. But he went out the back and shot a dog. Multiple people have told her this story. She said he was capable of anything. She did say with her there was never sexual, it was always mental and physical. But we've seen the escalation with Tony throughout the years. She told us he spent 24 hours in jail once, but he came straight back and beat her mum. Dragged her from room to room, beating her because of it. Her and Bart were screaming at him over it, and he turned to them and said if they don't shut up, he's going to blow their mother's head off. Another time at the Brown house, Tony hunted her again. This time he was chasing her on a dirt bike. This is twice that he's done this. She was terrified, tried to climb a tree to get away and to get him away from her, and she fell and broke her leg. She's asked then about Kegan, and she said he was very normal for a while, became very difficult as he grew up. Didn't go to school, was held back, and she thinks he dropped out around the 9th grade. Pretty normal other than the fact that he was a huge liar. Everyone knows him as a liar. He was the golden child of Tony. She says any abuse he suffered at Tony did not happen when he was a child. It would have been when he was an adult. And she thinks Kegan is lying about not talking to Tony. She says he's communicating with people outside of jail and he must have money on his books to do that. She also thought he was in Vegas for 4 years. And she at one stage wasn't far from him and she tried to meet up. So she contacted him, it was planned, and on the day they were meant to meet up he ghosted her because he was not in Vegas. They fell out before he was arrested because Kegan blew off going to his mother's birthday, said he had quote work. She has talked to the police about Kegan and Tony. Both of them, she said, are nice to the neighbours and the neighbours wouldn't necessarily know who they are. But we've also seen it doesn't stop them. It doesn't stop Tony from flipping out in public at anyone. She said it's the first real consequence that Kegan has ever faced in his life, and that her mother feels a great shame over giving birth to him. She agrees with Bart, saying the voice down the hill doesn't sound like Tony. He has way too much of a high-pitched voice, but she doesn't go as far as saying it was Kegan like Bart did. But I think Bart would know his voice a lot more. She seen Tony at a gas station a few years back, and he just looks at her and says, "Sorry for the way things were. Do you want some gas or cigarettes?" So he knows, he acknowledged what kind of a person he was. He knows what he put those kids through, and he thinks a bit of gas or cigarettes might be able to fix it. Gwen has her own family now and she seems to be doing okay. She's very close with Bart, which is nice to see, because he seems like a good guy as well. Tony tormented their mother and she's terrified now that he's going to come after him again because the kids are speaking out, and you have to feel for her and the years of abuse she must have suffered. We know a lot about Tony. We know a lot about Tony now. I feel like Doug Carter, and I think he probably was talking to him when he said that, when he said we know a lot about you now. And it's not a nice picture. A lot of stuff falling into place. This is a nasty man with a nasty past that has been escalating for years. And look at the violence and things here again. On a little girl that you're meant to be protecting. He hunted and chased her and hunted her down twice. This is a sick game to him, a sick game that escalated. I would encourage people only coming into this now, or a lot of people are coming back to it because they would have following the case, and we've gotten more updates in the last 2 weeks than we got in the last 5 years. Go back and watch my videos the last 2 weeks to get an idea of Tony, or just read the documents. That's the best thing you can do and judge for yourself. I had to laugh at one of the comments under the previous videos by Bluegrass Brittany. She said, "I 100% believe TK is BG. I read the entire 194 page transcript yesterday. Jesus himself couldn't convince me someone else didn't commit these murders." And I'm not quite that far. But I'm not far off. Both Kegan and Tony are cowards, and they might have testicles, but they have no balls. Please give this video a thumbs up. I have a lot of weasels coming in here giving my videos a thumbs down. And thanks as always to my Patreon members and YouTube members. I'm recording a new podcast straight after this, so that should be up there tonight or in the morning. Good luck, God bless. I hope today is the day.